Hello everyone, welcome to Watch Complications. This is just a short mini video review to accompany the longer written review on the website, watchcomplications.com. And this is the Christopher Ward C8 Power Reserve in stainless steel. This has been around for a little while, but it happens to be my favorite Christopher Ward in my collection. It's not the one I wear the most. It wasn't my first Christopher Ward, but it is stylistically and in terms of a joy to wear, I guess you could say, my current favorite. Not that that can't change in the future, but it's one that I really enjoy picking up and putting on a regular basis. And there's a couple other videos of this out on YouTube and such, since it's been around for a little while, but all the versions I could find were of the black PVD, whereas I prefer the stainless steel, and so I wanted to give everyone a visual of the stainless steel version of this really cool watch. So of course it's an aviation style watch, so it's got a large face, 44 millimeter diameter, of course a large crown for easy winding, and with the in-house caliber from Christopher Ward, the SH21, this is a really smooth turning motion, and really sort of a pleasure to wind in a lot of ways. It's probably the smoothest winding action of any watch I have. Of course, there's a lot of cool things about this watch. Like I said, I prefer, there's two versions. There's the black PVD, which then has different tones in terms of the markers and things on the dial. I like the stainless steel with the black matte dial with the white indices, and there's the hands are gunmetal tipped in white lume. The minute hand also has a little red tip on the end of it. The combination of the stainless steel with the black, the white, and the red, I think goes really well together. Of course, there are two major complications on this particular watch. There's the small seconds at 6, which again, with this nice SH21 chronometer, the seconds hand you can see is quite a sweeping seconds motion, nice and smooth there. And then at 9 o'clock is the power reserve. Now the SH21 has a 5-day power reserve, 120 hours, which is one of the great things about this watch. You can wind it up and then put it down for a couple days, come back to it, and it's still keeping great time. You can see just over on the left, underneath, next to the balance wheel moving there, you can see the SH21 stamp and then the serial number for this particular movement. You can see from the white writing there that this has got 27 joules in it. And just to kind of show you how this looks whenever you actually go to wind it. So it's a 5-day power reserve, 120 hours. And so what that means is there are two mainsprings connected via this PVD, black PVD bridge. And so when you turn the crown, you can see the first barrel moving. And I really love the sort of turbine design on this particular watch. It's really neat. But the mainspring on the first barrel turns primarily, and then you can see at a certain ratio, the second barrel gets a little bit of a wind as well as you turn the crown, which is how the charging works on this particular watch. Another thing that's sort of interesting about this is the expanded date window. So the pre and the post dates are on either side, which are sort of blacked out. You can see them, but the only number that has the white coming through is the current date, of course with a red marker there on the left as well. And another clever touch on this is that the date is loomed as well. So the date wheel is loomed, so that 12 will glow a little bit in the dark. Because of the stencil cutout on it, it can be a little bit hard to see sometimes from certain angles, the date. That's the major con of this design, I think, is just it's hard to see that number sometimes unless you're looking at it directly on. But then they counter that by adding loom to this date wheel, which I don't believe the black PVD version that its date wheel, which is it's not white, it's sort of a brownish orange tinted color. The indices and the date wheel isn't loomed, but on the stainless steel version it is, which is again another cool touch. I also really like that the logo is centered at 12 on this particular model. There's, Christopher Ward likes to put the logo in different places, which for me it's perfectly fine. Move it around based on the particular design of the watch, and I particularly like it here centered at 12 o'clock on this design. So I just wanted to give a short visual of what this particular model looks like in the flesh. You can see the turbine motif there on the crown as well. It's not very tall. At 11 millimeters, the SH21 hand wound movement keeps it thinner. So even though it's a 44 millimeter diameter, it's only 11 millimeter height. And on this Tiber leather strap that it comes with by default, it's only 81 grams, so it's not crazy heavy. If it was on a bracelet, of course, or something like that, it'd be a lot heavier. But with the combination of being on a nice, sturdy, robust leather and having the hand wound version of the movement, then this keeps the size and the weight in a reasonable range. So that if you like a sort of a nicer mid-size watch, I mean, it might be considered big for some people, but I think it's about as big as I would go for my liking. But I think it looks and wears really well on the wrist. And so if you want to see more pictures of this particular model and read some review content, you can visit the blog post on the website watchcomplications.com. There'll be pictures of the loom and nice up close photos, and some also some content about my experience with this. Is actually my second C8 Power Reserve stainless steel. I give not just a review of the watch, but also my experience with customer service in interacting with Christopher Ward regarding this particular watch. Because even though you might buy a watch and there's all these watch reviews out there, and yeah, it's a great watch, brand new, but what happens whenever a watch like this, a nice high-end, costly, expensive watch, needs a servicing? How does the company act and react to issues that come up throughout that process of getting something serviced? So I give some insight into that, my experience with that with Christopher Ward on the review. So hope you enjoy the video and take a look at the blog post.